Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is that you're watching this. Welcome to another episode of Carter and Kat's Weather Chat.
I'm Carter.
And I'm Kat, and
This is our Weather Chat.
This is the podcast where we talk about all of the whys behind the weather. Last week, we talked about the West Texas Mesonet and what it is and all of the things about it and how it's a free tool that the public can use. This week, we're talking a little bit more complex. We're talking about the seasons, how the seasons change, and even some climatology that we'll get into a little bit later. But let's talk about this next weekend coming up and, the forecast. And it's October now, and temperatures don't really feel that way. So do you want to give me a little bit of a forecast for our viewers?
I would love to, Kat. I would love to. So let me tell you, first and foremost, if you're watching this, well, let me tell you, we're recording this on October 2nd. That is today, right now, when we're recording. And that forecast right now, many of us seeing those upper highs, in the mid-90s. And that's kind of weird to say that we're in October and it's still in the 90s, but there's a reason behind that, and we're actually going to talk about that in just a little bit. But looking forward, many of us are itching for that fall forecast. And if you don't remember, if you do know, whatever it is, October, the averages start the month in the mid-80s, end the month in the mid-70s. So we have a long way to go. We're expecting temperatures to cool down eventually. Throughout this, week, we're expecting them to hopefully get back down to the 80s, especially with a windy weekend with gusts up to 20 miles per hour both Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a good forecast overall. I mean, plenty of sunshine. We just need to cool down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could definitely spend time outside and, enjoy the warmth if you love the warmth. But if you're itching for the cold, I have to wait just a little bit longer.
Just a little.
So, all right. So we are going to start off with the game first. So we're going to go back and forth. I have some stuff out that we printed out. It's called Season or Reason.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like the game trend that we have going for each of the episodes.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to go first and then I will answer.
Okay. So season or reason. This is how this is going to work. I'm going to read a statement for you guys, and how this works is I'll read it, Kat, you'll listen, and then vice versa. And pretty much you're going to tell me the scientific reason, or maybe if it's just a seasonal misconception.
Yes.
Whether it's true or false. So the first thing is the Earth is closest to the sun in July, which is why it's summer.
It's false.
False. Why is that false?
That's a great reason. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let me tell you.
I just know that it's closest in January.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's actually, no, I do know why.
Okay.
So, sorry, guys. So there's the sun and the Earth orbits the sun, but that orbit is actually not circular. It's like a oval. So obviously, like whenever that sun or the Earth is wherever it is in July, it's actually further away from the sun. And so when it comes back around and it gets a little bit closer, that's when we get January. But it's not about where it is in relation to the sun. It's about the tilt, which we'll talk about. So
she knows.
I do know.
All right. Good job.
Sorry, I had a brain fart. Okay. Let's see. So the next one is, if you live on the equator, you don't have a summer or a winter.
If you live on the equator, you don't have a summer or winter. That's so sad.
I know.
Because I know this is true, and it's really sad because, what happens, I don't know, I'm just a boy in Jamaica, and I'm just trying to get some Christmas gifts from Santa. We don't have a winter. Sorry, so sad.
Well, I don't think that's exactly how it works, but
Well, I
do you
mean,
think Santa skips the equator because there's no winter there?
well, I guess that's true. I guess they still have a Christmas. It's just, it doesn't feel like it.
No, it definitely doesn't. But yeah, did you know places like Ecuador and Singapore, they're the ones with very limited seasonal variation.
Ecuador and Singapore.
So it's just the same.
Okay.
I don't know what their climate is like. I'm sure it's not very, obviously it gets a little bit warmer when you get towards the equator. So it's not.
Where is Singapore located on the map?
I believe that it is in Asia.
Asia.
Yeah. So South Asia. It's like I don't want to be
That's
wrong
okay.
here.
Where's Ecuador next to?
Ecuador is in South America.
So where's Singapore?
Singapore is over in the Asian Pacific. Yeah.
I don't know where it's at. I'm just asking her to see if she.
I feel like we should look to see where it is, but
I'm in America. I
I feel
forecast
like
for America.
yeah, definitely. But I know it's over in the continent of Asia,
Okay.
but it's the southern part, like where we see like Indonesia and the Philippines and Thailand and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
So that's closer to the equator. So yeah. Okay, whatever. Next one.
All right. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. So let's talk about, we're talking about climate change and all this fun stuff. And with climate change comes the two infamous words, El Nino, La Nina. What does that mean? Well, we'll explain that in a little bit. But, the question is, El Nino winters in Texas are usually warmer and drier.
For those that don't know, that would be like, oh yeah, sure. But as scientists, like that's not true. It's actually cooler and wetter. And I believe we saw an El Nino winter last year. I could be wrong. Or it was near something like that. A weak El Nino of some
Mm-hmm.
sort. But yeah, scientists, we know what that stuff means. It's pretty complex. And if the public doesn't know, they're probably going to say, yeah, it's warmer and drier. But that's actually La Nina. That's warmer and drier.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Carter's not a fan of Enzo.
I do not like El Nino or La Nina. Okay. I don't like climatology. Climate's fake. Climate's fake. No, I'm just kidding. It's not fake. But here's the deal. It's one of those things that people, they don't know. And even meteorologists, they study it and they still forget.
It's literally like one of the most complex things that you'll learn in college. I remember I did research with one of my best friends that's a meteorologist too. And that whole semester, we were just like, we were not well. That was like one of the hardest classes I had ever taken because we had to differentiate between different El Ninos and why is this El Nino this way? Because they're not always what they say they're going to be. And so, we have it and it's helpful in some ways where we can like, okay, this winter we might be a little bit warmer and drier. And that's what the trends are seeing. And it's because we're going into La Nina. Obviously, we'll talk about it more in depth later. But yeah, so it's you can get them mixed up very easily. Is what I've noticed. I've done it myself. So,
yeah.
anyways, moving on. Okay. Summer days are longer than winter days because the earth spins faster in the summer.
No, ain't no way. Look, it's all about the tilt.
Yes.
It's all about the tilt.
Yes, all about the tilt. And we'll talk about that too. All right. Last one. Ready?
Last one. Oh, this is me?
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay. Well, actually, no, this last one's you.
Is it? Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
That's okay. I got it. All right. In Australia, Christmas happens during the summer.
In Australia, Christmas happens during the summer. Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
That's because our seasons are opposite from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. So we're in the northern hemisphere here in North America, but once you get past the equator, you go to the southern hemisphere and the seasons are completely different. So their summers are cooler and their winters are warmer. I could be wrong. I'm not even going to. I just need to stop second guessing myself. But their summers are yes, their summers are whenever we have our winter. So like right now we're going into winter or fall and winter. They're going into spring and summer. So they have a hot.
Just because they're all the way over there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know like what the temperature difference is. Like maybe obviously it's gonna be warmer, so because it's their summer. So
yeah.
So maybe I was wrong.
Well, this is a side note, and it has nothing to do with weather. But you talk about Australia, and I was gonna say like, oh, maybe we should go check it out. Maybe we can figure out the temperatures over there. I don't ever want to go to Australia.
What? I love Australia.
Have you been?
No.
Oh. Well, why do you want to go? Because I don't know.
I think it's fascinating. Like they're just like the different animals that they have there. Like they have marsupials, like koalas and wallabies and kangaroos. I think it's like an animal thing that I'm more interested in. And then the outback, Robert Irwin is there.
Yeah.
From Dancing with the Stars.
From Dancing.
And, Steve Irwin's son.
Okay, well.
Love him.
Okay, hold on. I'm not even. Never mind. We gotta address the Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, it's a really great show. I mean, not click or not sponsored. Like they're not
Not
telling me. No, it's been going on every Tuesday, so that's why I remembered. All Robert Irwin is in Australia
every Tuesday.
every Tuesday
I
at
love it.
7 p.m.
I love
But
it.
okay, let's get into the real stuff. No more fun, I guess.
Okay.
This is the stuff that we can get really confused on really fast. So we've got to make sure we, don't go too crazy because this stuff can be pretty complex. Like Enzo is very complex, which is the El Nino Southern Oscillation. Talking about the seasons and like the Earth's tilt, because we talk about it in college, but that's not necessarily what meteorologists focus on. We focus on forecasting and, talking about what's happening and why, but not really like the beyond Earth type of deal. So we're going
Yeah.
to talk about the seasons. But we're into fall, which started on September 22nd. We're in October now. Temperatures are warm. So why do the seasons change, but why don't the temperatures change with them? That's the big question. So let's talk about obviously the Earth's tilt. If you want to give me a little bit of information about that,
Yeah.
we
I
can dive
mean,
into that.
sure. Yeah. So you're asking, let me get this straight. You're asking why we see the seasons change pretty much?
Yes. Why does the
Okay.
seasons change?
Okay, well, let me tell you, first and foremost, a lot of people are probably watching this at home. You're probably thinking, oh, yeah, it's just, we're not as far from the sun. We're super close to the sun, yada, 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 because we talked about, I keep wanting to call it an oval.
It's
Is there,
the
what's the word? The path, what,
the Earth's rotational path.
the Earth's rotational path, the oval. Anyways,
Oval.
long story short, people think, oh yeah, it's because we're only so and so many miles away from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not correct. So you're actually looking at the Earth's tilt. And the tilt has a whole lot to do with just about everything, whether that's temperatures, maybe even just sunset, sunrise times, anything. It's all tilt related. And typically the Earth is tilted at about 23.5 degrees on its axis.
To the point.
To the
Come to
point.
the point.
The tilt does not change. It's just the way that it tilts and rotates.
Yes, that is true.
The rotation could be, constantly moving. It's constantly changing. The tilt's not. It ain't. The Earth isn't just going from, 23.5 to party rocking in the house. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not what the Earth's doing out there.
No.
They're definitely, it's just rotating, yeah, for sure. So obviously, during which way is it tilted right now? I believe it's tilted away because we're in our
Yes.
winters.
Yes.
Yes. So when our winters we're tilted away from the sun. So just because we get closer to the sun in January, we're still tilted away. So it's that we're still not really seeing that heat from the sun. Obviously, there's other things that impact our climate, whatever. So and during the summer, but also think about the southern hemisphere. That's why they see their summer in our winter months because they are tilted towards the sun. So like think about this is the sun. This is our Earth right now. We're right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously in the summer, tilts back towards, for us at least. And then that's when, like Australia, when Robert Irwin sees winter in
Australian
June.
Robert Irwin, yes.
So yeah, I mean it's pretty simple if you say it in the most simple terms, but and then think about the equator as well. You want to talk about the equator and
yeah, I can talk about the equator. We're talking about the equator not having much change. It's right there in the center.
Yeah.
The tilt's just, it's the same as the rest of the Earth, but it's not at a breaking point where you're saying, oh yeah, the northern hemisphere versus the southern hemisphere are changing and they're swapping.
Mm-hmm.
The equator's still in the middle. It's like
it's seeing the same amount.
Yeah.
For pretty much all year round.
It is. It's like, okay, imagine getting a tug of war.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you have Carlos Rosado on one side of the rope.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos, man, strong dude. And then let's say you have me on the other side of the rope. Only because I don't want to call anyone else out. I'm too nice. Well, let's say you have Carlos and then you have me. Well, we can swap sides any day, every day. And Carlos is going to be the strong side either way. But that rope, right there where that rope is, that line on that rope, that little piece of tape, it's the same rope. Rope's not changing. Tape's not changing. Equator's not changing.
That's a good example. but
Thank you.
don't sell yourself short.
I know. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, that's I think that's pretty much it. I mean, in terms of the seasonal variation, in terms of the tilt and looking at it that way, it's more simple. But the thing that I think a lot of people wonder is, okay, so if our Earth's tilting and now we're farther away from the sun, why aren't the temperatures changing? Why don't the temperatures just change automatically? Because that's what you would think, right?
Mhm.
So obviously we're not cooling down. You just talked about the forecast. It's going to be warm this weekend in the 90s. Our average, I believe, as of yesterday here in town, it's 84 degrees from what
Mhm.
I can remember. But
It
it's
is.
dropping really fast,
Yeah.
and that's in just a normal, not thinking about the climate and what's going on around us type of deal.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's not you can't. You have to take that with a grain of salt. So, um, there's another reason why our seasons don't actually change like super quickly or at all, because some winters we are warm, we're above average the whole time. Sure, our temperatures cool down, but they're always going to be above average, like 10, at least 10 degrees above average. And that is because of I'm going to read off some stuff because I do not want to get this wrong, because this stuff can become, like I've mentioned, like very complex very
Okay.
very quickly. So it's very important that we deliver the proper information that we know. um it's called ENSO, which is the El Nino Southern Oscillation. Oscillation means movement back and forth at a normal rate of speed. But ENSO is the oceanic temperature fluctuation over in the equatorial, which is the equator, Pacific Ocean. So over in the Pacific Ocean, they're covering the equator. So in that area where the equator is, temperatures are fluctuating between warm waters and cold waters. And sometimes these fluctuations happen between 1 or 3 years, but honestly, more recently, we've been seeing it from season to season. So this summer we saw, I believe it was a neutral phase, and we'll talk about it in just a second. And now we're going into La Nina phase. But let's talk about each phase
All
and
right.
go through it. Okay, so we have El Nino, and that is when the Pacific Ocean waters are trending warmer, and that people can think like, oh, okay, the southern US is going to see warmer and drier conditions. Well, that's actually not the case. It affects all types of things in our atmosphere, but it actually gives us cooler and wetter conditions in the southern portion of the United States. So places like Texas, all of the Gulf Coast states, all the states heading towards California. But that leads to milder and drier conditions in the northern United States. And that all has to do with the jet stream. We have a jet stream that sits over the United States, and that affects how far or like how south or north that jet sits over us. So it gives us the chance to have some cooler conditions in the United States. I'm not going to talk about the jet stream because that stuff gets.
Well, for
If you want
the
to talk about the jet stream, you can, but
I was just gonna say, for those who don't know what a jet stream is, if you go to the airport and your flight eastbound is about an hour faster,
yes.
that's the jet stream.
I actually learned that whenever I was applying for jobs out of college. I applied for like an aviation job, and they asked questions like that, like
Yeah.
how fast is a flight going east versus west, and it's an hour faster if you go
Mm.
east because that's the way that the jet stream streams.
It's very convenient.
Yes. But yeah, so El Nino for us in the winter, cooler and wetter. In the north, it's going to be drier and milder. Okay. La Nina. So this is when the Pacific Ocean towards the equator is trending a little bit cooler. So that's when people get confused. Then they would think like, oh, okay, we're going to be this, and this. Well, no, that actually leads us to southern or warmer and drier conditions in the southern part of the United States, which is here, like I said, in Texas. In the northern area, it tends to be cooler and wetter and maybe even a little bit more stormier. So that's actually what we are transitioning to from this summer into now. This is why temperatures are likely to stay above average for however long. I don't know if you saw the Climate Prediction Center's monthly outlook for
Mhm.
October. They put that big red blob all over the United States, and now we're going to likely to see above average temperatures pretty much for a majority of us, actually. So we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, we're going to get a cold front or two here and there, and that'll bring us more near average. But yeah, so that's La Nina. La Nina in the southern U.S., drier and
Yeah.
warmer. Northern U.S., cooler and wetter. Okay, now we have the jack of all trades, the middle of the deal. This is the El Nino. Are you okay? You're like chugging the whole water.
There's a purpose, cat.
Are you nervous about this El Nino talk?
No. There's a purpose. I just have to finish the water.
Why? How am I supposed to talk about this stuff when you're just over here like chugging the water?
1 second.
Okay. Oh, okay. I was like, is he?
That's your water bottle. I'm not gonna drink it.
Okay.
I'm not thirsty.
Okay.
El Nino, cooler, wetter. La Nina,
That is a great explanation.
warmer, drier.
Okay.
Okay. Oh man, I think I'm gonna burp. Excuse me, y'all.
Okay. You made me laugh, but that was awesome.
That's it.
That was perfect. Okay. That's like the easiest way you can explain it to the public. So what's neutral? There's no neutral.
No water.
No water. Anyways, so neutral, it's Enzo neutral. You know, we talk about it, whatever. I'm not gonna get over that. Seasons are typically near normal, but anything can happen. You could go both ways. Literally, like, just throw your hands up in the air. That's a hard forecast right there. So that's what we saw this summer. We saw Enzo neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen. We saw cooler than average temperatures at one point, and then obviously we started transitioning, and that's when things warmed up. We saw cooler than average temperatures. We saw that the devastating floods down in the hill country, you know, that was a pretty much 100-year flood. And different things just kind of happened for us, and unfortunately, it didn't make a big impact in terms of how much rainfall we're sitting at now, but it helped keep our drought away, which is now a problem for us yet again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's what we saw this summer. It was a very mild summer. It's a summer that I'll never forget for sure, because when I moved here in July and you moved here back last June, like, it was hot. It was
very, very hot.
Yeah, and I'm used to the humider, hotter conditions, but it was a different type of hot. And this summer, it just didn't feel that way.
It's been totally different.
Yeah, and a lot of my chief does like a calendar, and he writes down the high temperature for every single day. And for like July, it was all blue. Most of it was blue. There was a couple of above average days, but we didn't really see our first 100-degree day until a little bit later. So that's what neutral is. Like, you don't really know what's going to happen. You kind of have to wait and see what's going on. Like, you know, obviously we trended below when it could have been normal, and we could have seen those gray, like the, you know, the middle area days.
And this all affects severe weather season as well.
Yes.
And, you know, we have 2 different seasons for severe weather that typically see spikes. And now that we're kind of making this transition into a new phase, you're also going to see that second severe weather season pick up or not pick up, depending on what we're looking at.
Yeah. So that's kind of the whole deal with, you know, our seasons, and, you know, obviously the Earth's tilting, but that doesn't necessarily mean our temperatures are going to change.
Yeah.
It's all on the climate. The climate.
Excuse me. That would be the water. That would be your good old La Nina. You know what? I think this takes us straight to the point. La Nina was speaking. I think it's time we talk about La Nina, and if we're going to see La Nina.
Well, according to the Climate Prediction Center, we are going into a La Nina phase for the 2025-2026 winter. And yeah, so if it's feeling a little bit warmer this season, that's why.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That's like Jimmy Dean. All right.
Okay, well, I guess that...
it's a mood killer.
Or a mood booster. Now we're laughing in here. We're making our board guy over here, Steven, laugh and stuff. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not much more you can say, because you don't want to get...
Yeah.
This is the basis. I made sure it was easy to understand, and
well,
that's it. That was perfect, though.
There you have it. Yeah, thank you. And a
La Nina.
Dry, warmer winter is what it's looking like. That's fine with me.
It's trying to take off. It doesn't want to stay.
It says no.
But yeah, and obviously things will change come spring and the summer, and we'll see how that affects our severe season. And, you know, I think with that, the season, like the severe season stuff, if we're heading towards severe season pretty soon, make sure. What are you laughing
I'm
at?
just replaying.
The perf in your.
I'm replaying it in my head. I
Oh
can't do
my
it.
god. Well, just tell people to be weather aware.
Weather aware. It's like a go-to phrase.
Exactly. Weather aware.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to wrap up the pod?
Yeah, sure, we can. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really know what we're gonna talk about next week. We're figuring that out. And we're also, and you guys gotta let us know. Let us know. Reach out to the station if you think you would like to see some guests on this podcast.
Yes.
We would love to get the other meteorologists, whether that's Sam Nichols, Dylan Smith, maybe it's Pete Beretta,
Susanna
Susie.
Harbor. Yes.
There's a lot of good folks out there.
Very smart.
Very smart. And we're going to hopefully try to get them in soon. That could just be the next podcast, but that's our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been teasing all the other podcasts. Go give them a check out. Oh, speaking of, aren't we heading somewhere soon?
Yes. So we're going to schools. So starting next Wednesday, we're starting our little tour. We're going around the big country to some schools. I've been talking with some teachers, setting up dates and times and stuff. So really excited to get out there, and maybe we can show the kids some of our podcast clips. We can show them you burping.
Stop.
Mid-pod.
Let's just, all right. It's enough burp talk.
But anyways, so yeah, I mean, we're pretty booked and busy, but if you would like us to come to the school in town, let us know. Maybe we can get out there soon.
It's a great time. I mean, the students, they learn so much.
They love it.
They
They
have
love it.
fun. We play games.
Mhm.
Kat does experiments with them.
Yes, and you definitely give them a good idea of what goes on here and behind the scenes of a broadcast meteorologist, and you do that best, and I do the experiment stuff best. So I've got some new experiments to show them. So
More tricks up your sleeve.
Yes, I'm excited. So.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Carter and Kat's Weather Chat. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, keep chasing the why.